If you're looking to eat healthier and you want to prepare more nourishing and balanced meals from home, batch cooking might just be for you. So in this video, I'm going to take you through a day in the life of me batch cooking as a registered dietitian nutritionist, and I'm also going to share with you 5 perks of batch cooking. So batch cooking is a type of meal preparation where you would prepare a specific food, like say roast beets or roast sweet potatoes, and then use those different meal components to create a well-balanced meal. And so you can get very creative with batch cooking, and you can create a bunch of different types of meals that aren't necessarily eating the same exact thing every day, but using the different components in different types of dishes. Whereas with meal prep, you're pretty much creating a well-balanced meal that is very similar, if not exactly the same, throughout the entire week, which is something that is good if you spend a lot of time outside of the house and you don't have access to your kitchen. But however, if you would like to batch cook and prepare items in advance, this is something that you can do that is going to help to make dinners and lunches and breakfasts easier as well. So there are so many benefits to batch cooking, and I'm going to take you through some of the perks of batch cooking as we make our mushroom and herb and caramelized onion frittata. So let's get started. So first up, I'm just going to cut up the onion for the frittata. I'm caramelizing the onion, and then I'm going to add the mushrooms to it as well. Going to prepare the egg mixture while the onions are caramelizing. And so what I love about batch cooking is that it reduces decision fatigue, because when you have options, then it's less of like, oh, I could have whatever I want, or I don't even know what I should have. At least it gives you something that you could have or fall back on if you needed to. So when you just look in your fridge and there's just produce and there's nothing that's really prepared, it's hard to decide what you should be having, what you actually have time to prepare, or even have the creativity to think, what could I make with this sweet potato or what have you. So I like that when you batch cook and you cook and prepare food in advance, you're reducing some of that mealtime decision fatigue. Okay, so now I'm just gonna chop up some fresh herbs that I'm gonna put into the frittata. You get to create more consistency with your meals because you're able to eat more nourishing food more consistently. And that's because ready-made foods that you've prepared become more accessible. So even though you might not have 5-6 hours to cook all day in the kitchen, you can take an hour or even 30 minutes to prepare a very simple dish in advance. And that's going to help to provide you with a nourishing meal, either for breakfast or maybe for lunch, or a snack that you could take with you to go. Okay, so I have dill, chives, and tarragon. I'm gonna add all of this to the frittata as well. Another great perk of batch cooking is that you're actually using the produce that you bought at the supermarket. So I know a lot of times if you're not prepared or you don't have a plan for what you're going to cook, the produce that you purchase could actually just go to waste, and it's a waste not only of money but also of perfectly good food. So when you have a plan and you're batch cooking, you put the food that you buy to good use and it gets to where it needs to be. So, which is inside, nourishing your body. Okay, let's recap. So I'm caramelizing the onions. I am waiting to add the mushrooms until they're caramelized, and that takes a while. So in the meantime, I've cleaned up some of the produce so that it's snackable. So I have the radishes over there and the raspberries that I can snack on, and they're washed and cleaned. So I'll just put those in the refrigerator. I also took the cherry tomatoes out of the plastic and put them in a bowl so that I know I have them. When things are covered and they're just like in bags or they're in their original packaging, it makes it less likely that I'll use it. So I like to put any produce that I get into a bowl or some kind of container in the refrigerator so that I know it's there, and it just makes it easier for me to use it in different dishes or salads or whatever I'm making. So now we're going to prep beets. So beets are one of my favorite vegetables, and that brings me to another perk of batch cooking, which is you get to prepare foods that you prefer. So if you don't prefer beets and you prefer a different vegetable like carrots, then make those. You don't have to eat something just because they're super healthy, like beets. And actually, I didn't grow up liking beets at all. It wasn't until I started to prepare them on my own that I really started to enjoy them. So when you roast a beet, it tastes completely different from when it's like boiled or blanched, and it brings out this sweetness. And I like to pair it with a citrus fruit because that really brightens up the very earthy flavor of the beet. So if you don't like a vegetable, it might not always be that way. If you try it in a different way, you may like it. Or if you know that you just don't like something and you want to choose a different vegetable, you get to do that when you batch cook. So that's a wonderful perk of batch cooking. Okay, so far I've washed radishes and raspberries for snacking. I washed my parsley, and then of course the beets. So the beets are in the oven roasting, and then I cut off the leaves and I wash those, and I'm gonna chop them up and store them in an airtight container so that when I wanna saute the greens, they're already cleaned up and that's one less thing I have to do. I also sauteed the onions, so they're caramelized with the mushrooms, and I'm gonna add that to the egg mixture that has the herbs in it, and then I'm gonna cook the frittata through. So now I'm just going to pour the egg mixture with the caramelized onions, the mushrooms, and the herbs into here. And I also want to add some goat cheese, so I'm gonna do that as well. Just gonna store these beet greens for when I want to saute them. So the last recipe I'm making for this batch of batch cooking is chia seed pudding. So I'm just going to make this in advance because it does take some time for the chia seeds to absorb the liquid that you put it in. And I'm gonna use both water and milk, and then a touch of vanilla, and then just stir it in an airtight container and then store it in the fridge, so that I could take this out as a snack or for breakfast, or combine it with my oatmeal if I prefer. So I'm just combining the chia seeds with water, and then I'm also gonna add more liquid, just some milk. All this is chia seeds, water, milk, vanilla, and a little bit of maple syrup combined into a glass container. I'm gonna put the lid on and then let it sit. The chia seeds will absorb the liquid and it'll turn into a gel-like consistency that's kind of like pudding. And then you can add it to oatmeal. You can have it on its own with fruit and smoothies. It's a really great source of fiber, protein, healthy fats. And then of course, one of the last perks of batch cooking is that you're able to control the types of foods that you choose, the quality, the quantity, and what foods that you like. And so that is the road for improved health outcomes, whether that be trying to improve something from your blood work, trying to improve how you feel every day, your energy levels, how your digestion is. All of those things come from consistently eating nourishing foods. So do you have to cook every single meal from home from scratch to eat healthier? Absolutely not. But batch cooking is this nice middle ground, which allows you to make food components that you can pull into different meals so that you can be creative with the food and the recipes that you're making. So you're not eating the same thing every day, and you're nourishing your body with really good quality, home-cooked foods that you enjoy and that you like. So as I see it, one of the best perks of batch cooking is that you get to improve your health little by little, food choice by food choice, recipe by recipe. And this happens when you're bringing in more nutrient-dense foods and you're preparing them in ways that are nourishing your body so that you can relieve symptoms you may be experiencing, so you can heal your body, or so you could feel more energized or improve blood markers that may be out of range for you. Batch cooking is that stepping stone to really improving your overall health. So if you want to learn more about batch cooking, let me know in the comments below. I could do more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.